Welcome to the Hangout. It's me, y'all. Hopefully you're refreshing your page now and I'm showing up in the Hangout. So I think it's coming soon if it's not there already. So just keep refreshing your page and I'll be there in a second. So thanks for being here. This is week 5 of 5. It's going to be an absolute chock-a-block bumper session. I've got my my worksheet here. So if you haven't printed out your worksheet yet, it's down below. So you just click on it. It'll open a new page. You can print it from there. And there's also the weekly planner. You can print that out now, but basically that's a resource for you to have later. So I'm going to show you some of these tools and then you're going to be able to use that this week and every week for the rest of your life. So if there's anyone in the chat box, let me know that you're in and you can see the Hangout. And then once I know people are in and they can get in, then I will kick off. So it looks like people are here. Is that correct? I think so. Yes. All right, cool. So we've got some people here already. So Kylie's here, Angelique's here, Anne-Marie's here, Bernadette's here. Awesome. I'm not sure who else is here, but if you are here, say hello in the chat box. And I am going to pretty much get things started right now. So we're a couple of minutes in and I want to get this thing cranking. All right, cool. So I'm going to just get the presentation up now and then we'll begin. So, all right, so here we go. Enjoy. All right, so welcome to the Re-Awaken My Creative Spark online group coaching sessions. Let's move through this. So week 5 of 5. So this session is going to be about supercharging your art practice. So I'm going to share a whole heap of tools, but we're going to go through a really specific process and method that really helps to funnel and channel a lot of your energy into taking the right kind of action so that you're doing the right thing so that you can advance really quickly to your creative goals and how to deal with overwhelm. But I'll get into that in a second. So thank you for making time to be here. Thanks for being on time. For all of you that are already here, ready to rock. It's so good. Yeah, I'm really pumped and I'm really pumped that you're here. Also, thank you for sending through all of your questions this week. There were some awesome questions on this topic of how do you make a plan and then how do you stick to that plan. So I've taken as many of those as possible. I've taken them into account and tried to fit them into this presentation. So hopefully I will answer your question. If for some reason you don't have it answered in the session, either just type the question into the chat box and I will answer it at the end of the session, or I'll answer it as I go along. But yeah, let's move on. All right, so as usual, it's good to see people already in the chat box talking and saying hi to each other. It's awesome. I'm really excited about the community that's already kind of built within these sessions. Everyone's so supportive and just, you know, high-fiving. So feel free in the chat box to give each other high fives. That's definitely an awesome thing. All right. Okay, so just a really quick review of last week, which was all about beliefs. And it's such a huge topic. And I hope that you all felt like I covered that topic well and that I gave you a couple of things to hang on to. So there were some recommendations to add a few little things to your daily practice, which was the affirmations, the positive journaling, and also the really simple exercise of doing the hi and smiling at 3 people. So let me know in the chat box how that went, and how you, if you had any success with that, or if you totally, fell off the wagon and didn't get any of that done, or whatever your experience was. Just let me know if it was good, if it was helpful, any insights. Be really interesting to hear. All right. So, yep, like I mentioned, if questions come up, chuck them in the chat box and I will tend to them ASAP. All right. So week 5 worksheet. It's down there below. So download it. You'll definitely need the worksheet for this week. Because there's so much of the process in this worksheet. Definitely a handy thing to have. So download that, print it, and then you can fill it out as we go. All right, so what's on the menu tonight? So we're going to go through this thing that I call the 4 stages of a supercharged art practice. I'll get into that in a little bit. We're going to go through a passion project process. So this is choosing a passion project, and then we're going to go through the process of how you define what it is, and then how you break it down clearly, which is the next point, so that you have a really clear vision of that project, so that you're not constantly second guessing yourself and wondering, am I doing enough? Am I not doing enough? Am I going to get this done in time? So it's a really good way of doing that. There's going to be tools to stay on track at the end. A little bit of discussion about how to avoid overwhelm, because this is something that can definitely happen to creatives. It can happen to anyone, but especially for creative people who are not used to maybe thinking in more of a structured way when it comes to time and projects and getting stuff done. So I'm going to talk briefly about that. I'm also going to we're going to go through a little process about motivation, belief, and commitment, which, because this is kind of the last official session of the coaching, really want to leave on that note of motivation, belief, and commitment. Because once you have the plan in place, you'll need those 3 things to really move through and be kicking goals with it. All right, so who the heck's Mio Biskin? I think by now you all know who I am. All right, so why is having a clear plan important? So I think people know the answer to this, that creatives know why it's important to have a clear plan. But very few artists or creative people really make the time to sit down and lay out what their intentions are and what the end goal is and what the outcomes should be, and how long it's going to take and who needs to be involved, and even like a little budget and stuff like that. And basically it comes down to this. If you have a really vague plan, you'll take vague action and you'll end up with vague results. If you have a really clear plan, it really channels your action so that your action can be really effective, and then you end up having really clear results. And the clear results, that also includes knowing when you've actually achieved your goal. Because if you have a really vague goal or vague vision, you never really know if you've achieved that vision. And something that's really important about doing goal setting and achieving a vision is knowing when you've reached the final, the goal, and fulfilled that vision and achieved it, because then you get to celebrate and you get to acknowledge your work and your effort. So really important: clear plan, clear action, clear results. And you're far more likely to get what you want when you know what you want. So being really clear on the outcome is really, really important. Okay, so these are the 4 stages of a supercharged creative practice. So clarity and vision, which we'll spend actually most of this session on clarity and vision. And then purpose, so knowing why you're heading towards this vision. And that really includes the motivation. So it's purpose and motivation. Because when you're connected to a bigger purpose and clearly understanding what's going to motivate you, then you can really tap into it and let that propel you towards your vision. Then third part of this is belief. So we talked about that quite a bit last week, which is, believing that you can do it. Because basically, if you don't believe you can do it, it's very unlikely you're going to take any action towards it. And then the fourth bit is commitment. So I'm going to talk about the 3 levels of commitment later on as well, which are really important. It makes a huge difference, the way you think about the commitment to the vision. All right, so let's get straight into this. So in the second session, we worked on coming up with a creative vision, an exciting creative vision. And we also talked about being multi-passionate and that sort of thing. But here, what I want to really focus on is a actual project or a tangible project that you want to work on and that you want to complete by the end of this year. So this is basically like a 4-month plan. So there's about 4 months to the end of the year already. And so we want to go through a process of, you can actually do this now as I'm speaking. Hope I'm not too distracting, but list 3 to 5 potential passion projects that you'd like to complete by the end of this year. So if you're a writer, you might want to finish the first draft of your book by the end of the year. If you make beautiful gift cards like Angelique does, then you might want to be at a stage where you have made 12 new designs, and you're having them printed. So you're going to print 100 of them, just say. If you're getting a photography business up and running off the ground, maybe your goal is to have a business plan fully in place or a marketing plan fully in place by the end of the year. So at the start of the next year, you can just put that into place. So hopefully you've got your list of 3 to 5 passion projects, and we'll move on to the next section. Okay, so this is where we want to start rating them between 1 and 10. So this is how we're going to quickly just choose one of these. So if you rate it 1, you're not too excited about doing this thing. And if it's a 10, then you're totally jumping out of your skin to do this right now. You really want to get it done and you're excited about it. So just put a number beside each one of those passion projects. We're kind of we're hoping to have maybe one of those as rating quite highly in the 8, 9s, and 10s. So this might also come back to your larger vision that you did in week 2. So which one of these might align most closely with that larger vision? All right. So hopefully you have done that now, where you've kind of settled on one of these things that you're going to work on over the next 4 months, that you really want to get finished by the end of the year. It's going to be a really great thing to tick off your list. It's going to feel like you've really pushed your creative practice forward. So if you're a painter, maybe your goal is to do 4 paintings, just 1 painting a month, or maybe you want to do twice that. Maybe you want to do 8 paintings by the end of the year. Okay, so then what we want to do is you want to choose one of those above projects for now that most excites you and that you would like to complete by the end of this year. So whatever you choose to do right now, it doesn't have to be the absolute final thing, but we're just going to choose one that we're going to work on through the rest of this session. And then once we've been through this process, you can either revise that vision or that goal. We can come up with a new one, whatever it might be. But for now, if you can just settle on one of them that excites you, then we'll go through the rest of this process. Okay. So now what's important is getting really specific as to what the goal is. So like I was saying earlier, if you have a really clear vision, then when you complete it, you get to really celebrate that you've achieved that thing. So here are a couple of examples. So it needs to be measurable, something that when you've gotten to the end of it, you can go, okay, yes, I've done that, and you can tick the box and you can be excited and jump around. So here's that example I gave earlier. Finish 4 paintings by December 20th. Record 3 songs by December 31st. Complete a full business plan by December 15th. Create 5 jewelry pieces, photograph them, and print 300 catalogs. So you'll notice that usually there's a number of things that you want to get done. So finish 4 paintings, and there's often a date so that you know exactly what you're aiming for. And because it's the end of the year, it's a pretty nice, easy date to kind of aim for. All right. So if you need to take a minute to do that, like I said, you don't have to, settle on this right now. You can revise this if you watch the replay of this session, and then you can kind of rejig things if you need to. But for now, come up with something that feels pretty comfortable and that you're pretty excited about doing. Okay, so hopefully you've got that. If you haven't, if I'm moving a bit too fast, just let me know in the chat box that you need me to slow down. And there is always the opportunity to watch the replay and go through this process where you'll be able to pause the video and that sort of thing. Okay, so I'll keep it moving. So hopefully you've got that. Okay, so now when it comes to breaking your goal down, your goal will generally fall into one of these 2 categories. Sometimes it's a mixture of these 2, but generally it's one of these. So generally it will either be a sequence of events. So I'm going to give the example of the jewelry maker in a moment. So there's a sequence of events of doing research, doing a design, making the jewelry, getting it photographed, getting the catalog designed, and then getting them printed. So that's like, then the second way is recurring. And this is more about building a skill and a consistent creative practice. So like the daily practice that you've been doing, that's a recurring kind of goal, that each day you expect a certain amount of work to be done. So an example of that is when I'm in a songwriting phase of my art practice, I will have recurring goals like I want to write 1 song per week, or I want to record a demo every 2 weeks. So this is a recurring thing that every 2 weeks I want to have a new demo recorded, then I record that, and then in the following 2 weeks I work on another demo. So I will go through the process of these 2 separately. So if yours is a sequence, then I'm going to go through that first, and then we're going to go through the recurring method. And yeah, so just hang tight. If you're doing the recurring one, we'll go through the sequence and you can learn about that. And then when we're doing the recurring one, you'll also find out about that. Okay, so this is the sequence that I came up with for the goal of this jeweler, who is, to have a catalog of 300 catalogs printed of their jewelry, basically, to promote or to put at markets or to take to shops, whatever it might be. So this is the process. And I have no idea if this is the correct process. I just kind of came up with this, which is do research on designs out there that will inspire you. Then actually design the jewelry. Then source all the materials you'll need for that jewelry. Then you'll make the jewelry, you'll get it photographed, you'll have a catalog designed, either yourself or someone else. Find a printer, so you'll get quotes and that sort of thing, and then you get the catalog printed. And then it's done and you celebrate. So whatever your goal is, if it's a sequence, what I'd like you to do is, in the space that I've provided in the worksheet, go through now and basically just quickly jot out what the sequence or the different phases would be. So I know, so you can do that as I'm speaking. If it's distracting, you might want to turn it down a little bit. In my own creative practice of doing an album, I know that there's a sequence of songwriting, demoing, some pre-production, the recording, then there's mixing, and there's mastering. So we just want to kind of go in broad brushstrokes at this stage. So yeah, just take a little second now to do that, and then we will move on. All right, so I'm going to move on now to the next part of this. And basically what you're doing now that you have each of those different phases, you're just going to estimate. So this doesn't have to be perfect. You're just going to estimate how many hours each part of that phase is going to take. So here, like I said, I have no idea if this is accurate, but I put down 4 hours for research, 10 hours for designing the jewelry, 4 hours to source all the materials. So they might be running around or ordering it online, whatever. And then 5 hours per piece. I have no idea if that's how long jewelry takes. Maybe it takes 50 hours, I'm not sure. And then 4 hours to have it photographed. That might be an afternoon with a photographer. 10 hours to design the catalog. 3 hours to hunt around to get a printer. 2 hours of getting, dropping whatever, transferring files to a printer and then going to pick them up, whatever it might be. And then at the end, done, celebrate. So I want you to, if you're doing a sequence, jot down next to each phase of that project and these numbers also might get rejigged once you start the project and realize that sourcing the material, it's actually just going to take you an hour, or maybe you already have it, or it might end up taking you 10 hours because you're going to drive to Coober Pedy and get the opals yourself. So yeah, these numbers may change, but for now we just want to get an estimate of the project. Okay, now what I want you to do in the worksheet is at the bottom of the third page, you'll see something that looks similar to this: September, October, November, December. Each one of those boxes is a week. So you'll see under September, I've just started taking those different phases and I've just placed them in the boxes. So the first one, which was do research on the designs. So I've estimated it's going to take 4 hours. So I've said, okay, in that first week of September, I can find 4 hours to do the research. And then the second one is design jewelry. So on the estimate, it's 10 hours. So I've broken that up over these 2 weeks. So designing jewelry, in 1 week, I'm going to spend 5 hours doing it. And then the following week, I'm going to spend 5 hours doing it. And then I've got source material. And then in October, I start making the jewelry. So the first week, I spend 5 hours doing it, maybe 6 hours. Then the second week, make another piece. Third week, make another piece. And until November, make the 5th piece. And then the following week, get it photographed. The following week, spend 5 hours on the catalog. The following week, 5 hours on the catalog. The following week, find the printer. The following week, you might need to do test prints. And then in that week, you print the catalog, you get them back, and then just before Christmas and New Year's, you get to celebrate that you've just got 500 catalogs of your jewelry designs that you've probably been wanting to do for a very long time. Okay, so if you want to start kind of scribbling on that little calendar of September, October, November, December, and really roughly just laying out what that phase might be, or that sequence of this project might look like. One thing that can be really helpful at this point is reverse engineering. So actually working back from December, and in this case, that's kind of what I did. I decided that I wanted to have the catalog printed in that third week of December. And I worked back from that and I went, okay, what happens before I get it printed? Okay, maybe I need to do test prints. What happens before that? Okay, I need to find a printer. Okay, what happens before that? Okay, I need to design the catalog. So I kind of worked back from December. Okie dokie. So like I said, this might take some rejigging, or maybe you've overestimated how much you can do between now and the end of the year. You know, if you said you're going to do 20 paintings, you might now go, oh, actually, I might just do 8 paintings, and I'm going to do one every 2 weeks. Okay, cool. So if you're working on a sequence, then that's the main part of how we take a larger project like that. We break it down into phases or sections, and then we just map it out like this. And having a visual map of this is really, really helpful, especially for creatives and artists who like visual stuff. All right, cool. So hopefully you're getting a bit excited by now. This is where I start to get excited. All right, so now I'm going to quickly go through the recurring method. So what I would like you to do, if this is your project looks more like this, a recurring kind of thing, I've got a couple of examples here. So these are not really related, but I'm just using these as an example. So what I want you to do is think about how much time you need for each thing that you're doing. So if in this example, I've got one of the goals is to build a collection of cards. So this is kind of like for Angelique, but this could just this could be anything. This also could be songwriting. It could be building your folio in some way. Could be, if you're an illustrator, you know, having a finished piece each week, something like that, to help kind of build your skills and build your portfolio. So I've got here weekly, 1 card per week. So that might be designing a card, might be fully finishing a card. Okay, then there might be things that take you 2 weeks. So in this case, I've got songwriting. So 1 song every 2 weeks. And then a monthly goal might be something like 1 painting per month. And then you'll see that next to them, I've estimated how long that thing might take. So, and then what I've done in that table, which is also on page 3 for you, I've placed it in those categories. So I've said, okay, a weekly thing I need to do is complete a gift card. Something I need to do every 2 weeks is I want to finish a song at least every 2 weeks. And then each month, by the end of the month, I want to have a new painting. Okay, so now what we do, so I'm going to just check to see how everyone's going in case I'm going way too fast. I'm just jumping back into the chat box to make sure everyone's okay. Everyone's strapped in. Okay. All right. Okay, cool. Looks like at the moment there are no big questions? People are not too confused, are you? Please let me know if you're confused, if I'm moving too fast. Okay, so I'm going to hop back into the presentation now. Okay, so hopefully by now, if you're in a songwriting phase or you're developing work, then the recurring method is the best method for you. If you're working on a kind of project where you have an end goal that is a product, like either an exhibition or a catalog or a business plan, whatever it might be, then you may want to use the sequence method. Okay, so what happens now is you go to that calendar that I had out before and you lay out your plan so that you can see it. So here you'll see in the first week of September, complete one gift card. And you will notice that you will see that in every box there because that is the weekly goal. So that will be a goal in each box between now and the end of December. And then you'll notice in the second box, so it's the second week, and so you have the bi-weekly goal is in there. And then if you skip a week and go to the fourth week, you'll see it again in there, write one song. So that'll be every 2 weeks, that'll be on the agenda to have that thing finished. And then you'll notice on the fourth week of October, November, December. So this is the way of deciding that, you may want, what's that, 4, 8, 12, 16 gift cards by the end of the year. And so you want to do one a week. You want to have 8 new songs by the end of the year. So you want to write one every 2 weeks. And it's pretty achievable to write a song every 2 weeks. And then you want to have 4 paintings by the end of the year. So you want to be finishing one a month. So, it's pretty kind of logical, but it's very rare that artists go through this process of going, okay, I want to do 4 paintings in the next 4 months. How about I do one a month? That would work. Okay, cool. So if you're doing this recurring type plan or vision or goal or whatever, you can go through now and maybe you just need to fill out that first month and then you can fill out the rest of the months either as we go or you can come back to it. All right. So I'm going to give a quick example of how this works. I think you can see it there, but I just want to illustrate it like this. So I'm just going to use this week of September. So there's week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. So in the first week, basically on your agenda for that week is to finish one gift card, the design and everything of one gift card. So here I've said that it takes 3 hours. So Angelique might scream at me and say, no, it actually takes 10 hours per card. So whatever your takes, but in this example, it's so that first week of September, what's on your agenda that week that's really important to complete is one card. And then in week 2, what would be on your agenda for that week is finish one card and write one song. Then in week 3, what's on your agenda is to finish a card design. And then in week 4, what's on your agenda is complete a gift card, write a song, and complete one painting. And I know what's going through your mind right now is that is way too much for me to do in 1 week. I don't have time. I've got kids. I've got a job. I've got 17 cats. So this is kind of what I'm going to suggest here. So what you might want to do with the stuff that's there in week 4 is basically you can spread it over the other weeks. So, it sounds like a pretty novel idea, which is that the goal of the painting, which I've just randomly said it's going to take 12 hours to make a painting. in this section where it's got September week 1 option, I've broken, so you're going to do the card, you're going to do 3 hours of that songwriting, and then you're going to do 3 hours of the painting. So that's about 9 hours of creative work. So that'll come back to what your week looks like and how much really spare time you have at the moment, if you're working full-time, whatever it is. And we're going to get into sorting that out as well. But this is basically the process of how you can spread those bigger items like a painting over a couple of weeks. You don't have to do it in that 4th week, but it's on your agenda, it's on your radar. So if you get to week 2, halfway through week 2 or into week 3, and you're like, I haven't done any of that painting, then in week 3, probably a good idea to start doing it. Okay, so I'm gonna, this is about how to create a weekly list. Now we're starting to get into some of the tools to keep you on track, to keep you focused on what you need to do. So I'm going to take the example that we just had of, this is the first week of September, let's just say. Oh, actually, no, it's this current week. And we're going to say that this week, what's on the agenda is doing daily practice each day. So it might be your 5 minutes of drawing, whatever it is. And then you also want to get a card finished this week, and it's going to take 3 hours. And you can see over to the right, you can see the 3 boxes, and each one of those is like for an hour of the work that you do. And then you'll see the date, and you sign it down below. So at the top this is what I call like a weekly commitment list declaration. So this is where you're writing, I, Neo Biskin, that you'll put in your name, commit 100% to completing the following by midnight, Sunday, 30th of August, 2015, no matter what. And so what this little document is, it's really just a commitment that you're making with yourself. It's a promise that you're making to yourself. And you're also just getting really clear on what it is that you need to do this week when it comes to your creative practice and pushing your creative practice forward. So what this does is it says, this week, my daily practice and finishing 1 card are the 2 most important things that are happening in my life this week. And no matter what, these things have to get done. And what it does is it takes those 2 items, your daily practice and a card, and it lifts it above all of your other priorities and all of the busyness of life, like taking out the garbage, seeing a friend, doing this other thing. And it kind of just lifts it out of that mess and noise of life. And it reminds you, okay, these 2 things I have decided that I want to advance my creative passions. And so these 2 things are really, really important for me to do to make sure that I move towards that goal. So they're not really optional things. They're really important things to focus on and really direct a lot of attention to. I could go on and on about the importance of this, but I can tell you I do one of these every week to focus me. Even though I've been doing this for over 2 years, I still do this every week to make sure I'm really, really clear on what I need to do to keep me moving forward. So it's that coming back to clear vision, clear action, clear results. So you can write, okay, so it's actually there in your worksheet. So you can just scribble out where it says your name and put in your actual name and put in whatever it is that you need to do this week. And then you can date it with today's date and you can sign it. All right, excellent. Haha. Now I'm getting even more excited. Okay, so how's everyone going? Let me know if you're all good. And then I'm gonna illustrate more about how this works. Okay, so as you go through your week, you're going to do a bit of daily practice, and you can see there's a little tick in Monday. So once you've done all the things on your little daily practice card and you've celebrated, then you come over to this list and you tick Monday. So Monday, I did all my daily practice. And then on Tuesday, you did all your daily practice. And then you also had an hour on Tuesday after work or whenever it was to work on the card. So you did some of the designing and drawing, whatever it was on the card. Then Wednesday, you did your daily practice in the morning, you tick that. And then Thursday, you did your daily practice, you tick that. And then you also had another hour to work on your card. And then on Friday, you did your daily practice. Saturday, you did your daily practice. You're doing awesome. And then Sunday, you did your daily practice, and you also found an hour in the afternoon to do that last hour of doing the card. And then you do this massive tick that you did all of your daily practice the entire week. And then you also get to tick this box of doing your card. And at this point, you're getting pretty proud and pretty happy with yourself. And you do a massive tick over the whole list if you want to really kind of ingrain that you've taken a whole series of important, clear steps towards actualizing this goal. And it's a really exciting and great thing doing this. It's again, like the way that your daily practice is proof that you're doing work every day on your goal. This weekly list it's like that. It's just a bit more powerful, I reckon. And it's real proof that you're moving towards your goals. And being a creative, it's very rare that we get tangible proof of our goals, especially if we're just practicing a lot. So this is a really great way of acknowledging that you're taking steps forward. So at the end of that week, you do a massive tick, and then you celebrate and you go on this awesome swing because you've dodged all these bullets and you've had an awesome week, and you just party on. Good times. All right, cool. So hopefully we're all together. You're with me on this. If anyone's got any questions, again, feel free to chuck them in there. Okay. All right, so I'm just seeing a question here from Angelique saying, can you explain when to use the sequence and recurring methods again? Okay. So the distinction there really is that a sequence of events, usually it's when you're heading towards a project outcome, and there are a couple of different phases in that project. So the example I gave was when I'm in the process of recording an album, then that is going to be a sequence of events. It's going to be me writing songs, and then, let's just say that's going to be for 1 month of writing songs. The second phase is going to be 1 month of demoing songs. The next phase is going to be 1 month of recording the songs. Then the fourth month is going to be 2 weeks of mixing the songs and 2 weeks of mastering the songs. So that's a 4-month sequence of events. And then the recurring method is more about just general cultivating of skills or things that you might need to do as part of your business. Or like for Angelique, maybe you might actually have both of these running at the same time. I don't want to confuse you, but a recurring thing for you might be that you want to continue adding new cards to your catalog. So you want to create, a new design maybe every 2 weeks, just say. So that becomes your recurring goal. So every two weeks in your calendar, there'll be a thing that says create 1 new card. But a sequence of events for you might be similar to the silversmith or jeweler who's creating a catalog. So it might be spend some time creating some cards, then getting them scanned, then getting them looking around for a printer, and then getting them printed. So that's more of a sequence. All right, cool. So I hope that has answered your question. Please let me know if it has or not. I like your comment, Bernadette. Whee! So that's what happens when you tick all those boxes. It's good times. Okay. Angelique telling me I am going a bit fast, but I can rewatch it again. All right, cool. Good, good, good. Okay, so I'll move on. All right. Okay, here we go. So this is about how to plan your week. And I know you're all grown-up human beings and you can probably do this, but I want to give you a really quick example as to how I do this. So I do this at the start of the week as well, so that I can have a really clear visual picture of how much time I have, rather than trying to imagine in my head like, oh, okay, I've got 3 hours on Thursday between 6 and 9, and on Saturday there's a patch between 2 and 4, blah, blah, blah. I like to draw it out so I can see it and I can count up the boxes and it's really clear. So you can download a copy of this weekly planner and use it. You can print it out and use this at the start of each week. So what I do first, the first step is block out all the time where you definitely cannot do creative stuff. So this is this is work. I'm just using this as an example. Your life is going to look different to this, but this is just an example I'm creating. So in this example, the person's working Monday, Wednesday, Friday, full-time between 9 and 6. And so, they're not really going to be able to do much creative stuff in that time. And then here, Wednesday afternoon, like Wednesday evening, they go to yoga. Friday night, they've got a dinner planned that they've planned for a while. Saturday, they got free. Sunday afternoon, they're going to a family picnic. And then what you want to do is you want to highlight all the space where you do have time. So Monday night, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. So this is all potential time. It's not necessarily that you're going to do creative work in all of this time, but it's potential time. So then what I do is I literally count up all of the boxes. So on the Monday, there's 2 hours. Tuesday, 13. Thursday, 13. Saturday, 13. Sunday, 4. And then what I do from there is I generally knock off a couple of the hours. So on that Tuesday, you got to eat, you got to do other stuff. You've got life going on. You've got to, whatever, you may have to go pick up your kids, whatever it is for you. I generally just knock off a couple of hours, usually about 10, 20% of the time. I just wipe off it automatically and I say, okay, I'm not going to be able to be absolutely productive for those 13 hours. So I'm going to say it's 10 hours. And then you count up how much that is. So in this case, it's 35 hours. And I think when you do this exercise, you'll actually be really surprised at how much time you have. So this is in the worksheet as well. I would grab a pen and kind of just lash into this and block out all the time that you have work and other commitments, and then highlight with a different pen, whenever between 9 a.m. and 10 p.m. as potential time to do creative work, and then go through and count them up and then knock off a couple of hours and then add up how many total hours you have. And you might be surprised that you actually have a lot more potential time there than you originally thought. So if that's the case, please let me know in the chat box if you end up finding you've got more time than you thought. Okay, and then what I've done here is I've just blocked out these 3 creative sessions for this week. And I've said, okay, on Tuesday, it's going to be a creative session between 9 and 6, same on Thursday, and then on Saturday, I'm going to make a bit of time between 2 and 5, and that's total creativity time of 21 hours. So you can get a lot done in 21 hours. For some of you, you may only have 1 or 2 or 3 hours an evening at the moment, and not every evening. So you might have 3, 6, 9 hours through the week, and you can actually get a lot of creative work done in 9 hours. Pretty much every single person that wrote to me this week with their questions said one of the things that's holding them back is time. The other thing is money. I can't help you too much with money right now, but I can help you with time. And I think going through this process, you will actually see that there is plenty of potential time, and it's really depends on how you're using your time at the moment. If you're coming home watching stacks of TV every night, then you're not going to have time to do creative work. But if you block out 1 or 2 or 3 hours, a couple of nights a week, and a little bit on a Saturday, you're easily up to 10 hours, and you can get a lot done in 10 hours. I can easily write a song in 10 hours. That's a lot of painting. In 10 hours, you can get quite a bit done. So yeah, so hopefully you're with me so far. Okay, so here are a couple of tips to stay on track. Actually, one more word on this. Basically, what I want you to do is on this weekly planner is in the example I gave of the person needing 3 hours to do their creative work. I want you to block out when you're going to do those 3 hours of whatever it is, or if you want to do 5 hours of songwriting this week, when are you going to do that? So you might do 2 hours Tuesday, 2 hours Thursday, and an hour on Saturday. So I want you to actually block that in now for when you're going to do it. So this is real. This is the real deal. This is going to go live, as soon as this session is finished. Okay, so here are a couple of tips to stay on track. So review often. There's a really weird thing that as humans, we just forget what our goals are. It's really bizarre. And the way that you get around that is review often. So one of the tips is to schedule 20 to 30 minutes each Sunday evening, or very early Monday, to basically reset and prepare for the week ahead. So you would go through this process either on a Sunday afternoon or early Monday morning, where you look at that monthly, the 4 months calendar that we set out, and you go to week 2 and you go, okay, well, this week on my weekly list is going to be doing this card and writing a song and my daily practice. Create your weekly list, weekly commitment list, and then work out exactly in the week. So you do your weekly planner, you look at your week and you say, okay, I'm going to do these things on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, whenever it might be. So that's definitely something I highly recommend you do, is make some time to review and do planning for the week ahead. Okay. Also, something that I highly recommend is doing a weekly review. So basically looking back at your week as well and saying, okay, what worked this week? What didn't work? If something didn't work, you just ask what happened. So there doesn't have to be any value judgments like, oh, I didn't do it, I'm a loser. It's just, okay, I didn't do it because I didn't allow for travel time between work and home, or I didn't allow that I needed to eat dinner every night and it takes longer than I thought. So this is kind of a weekly review really helps you just tap into how long things are taking you, what any things might be that are holding you up or holding you back or whatever it might be. And then make a little list of what things you're going to do better this week and involve that in your planning. All right. So purpose and motivation. So all I'd like you to do for this one, so this is part of the 4 stages of a supercharged creative practice. Answer the question, why is it important for you to do this? So why is it important for you to fully complete this project? So come up with 3 to 5 reasons. So you can do that now as I'm speaking. One reason might be that it's been on your list for a long time and it's important for you to finish it. Another reason might be you have to finish the business plan for your photographic business so that you can really take it to the next level and make it your career. Another reason might be that not doing it will make you feel horrible and it'll make you feel stuck, and it's really important that it gets done. Another reason might be because it's been a dream for a long time and now's the time to do it. So move towards this goal. All right. Cool. So I'm going to move on to the next part, which is the belief part of this. So you've already done this once or twice in this process, because this is really important to always have at the forefront of your mind, which is making a list of 3 to 5 things that you've achieved in your life that make you proud and that are proof that you can do this. So if you've had a baby, if you've had a child, then that's proof enough that you can pretty much do anything else that you set your mind to. If you've achieved anything, if you've won any awards, if you've been even athletic or sport recognition, or you've you finished a uni degree, or you've had exhibitions, or you've jumped out of an aeroplane, or you've climbed a huge mountain, whatever it might be, things that you're really proud of that you connect with, that make you feel really competent and confident. So make that list there. Okie dokie. All right. So we are nearing the end. So we've got a couple of minutes left and we are definitely nearing the end. But I wanted to talk a moment about intention. This is a quote I came across probably about a month or 2 ago. And I just think this is such a powerful quote. And through the experience of doing coaching with people and mentoring, and also just true. So the quote is, no matter what anyone says, no matter the excuse or explanation, whatever a person does in the end is what he intended to do all along. So this is a quote about intention. And sometimes when we set an intention to do something like this plan that we've just created, we set an intention to say, yeah, I'm going to do this thing. But if there's a part of your mind that's saying, oh, well, I'm going to do it, if I have enough time, or I'm going to do it if everything goes well in the first few weeks, or I'm going to do it if I get the support of my spouse or my parents, or I'm going to do it, but, if I get tired, if I get a little bit, snoozy on the Thursday when I need to do my, my work or whatever, then I'm not going to do it. So if there's a part of the mind already has an escape route, then the intention, the air basically goes out of the intention from the beginning. So it's so important when you're starting a new project or when you're committing to something that you take your mind to a place where you absolutely have the full intention of committing to it and doing it no matter what happens, so that you can't really back out and have excuses and come up with things. It's really important to set that clear intention. So yes, so do that as you're doing your weekly list, as you're writing out, no matter what, really kind of tap into that emotion and go, okay, I really am committing to this no matter what. Even if I feel just, a bit tired, or, I get knocked around a bit for some reason, I'm going to commit to doing this because it's important. Okay, so a note on overwhelm. So here's just a little bit of advice, very simple advice when it comes to overwhelm. Plan the journey well, which is what you've done. Commit to arriving to the destination, which is the intention. Take your first step confidently. So knowing that you've planned well, you have a clear shot at this, take your first steps confidently towards doing this. Then all you need to do is focus only on your very next step. And then the next part of it is arrive. If you continue to do these steps, which is take your first step confidently and focus only on your very next step, then you will arrive. So the end goal, I'm just going to use the concept of the sequence. If you focus on just doing the thing that you need to do that week, and you continue to do that for the next 16 weeks through this period without overcommitting or totally burning yourself out, which I don't recommend and I don't think you should do. You should do whatever you can do and commit to doing what you can do. And arriving at your goal is simply the culmination of doing what you need to do in each week. That's all it is. And this process of taking a big goal and kind of chunking it down into small pieces or a sequence or whatever, it's really built to help you get over the overwhelm, to basically feel like, oh, okay, this is actually just a whole bunch of little steps that I need to take between now and the end, and I can see it clearly, and I don't have to guess, and I can definitely do this. That's the feeling that I want to instill in you through this process, is going, oh, okay, I clearly see how to do this now, and all I need to do is each week make my commitment list, plan it really well. When the time comes, really commit to doing it and following through. And then after the first couple of weeks of doing this, you'll build momentum, and each week will get stronger, and you'll, before you know it, the year will be finished and you'll have your project well underway and completed. And then you're going to have an awesome summer where you can relax and you can tell everyone, at the Christmas dinner when they say, oh, how's your, whatever, your jewelry going? And you're like, oh, awesome. I made the 5 pieces and I just had a catalog made, and I'm going to take, over summer, I'm going to take them to these markets, blah, blah, blah. Much better conversation than going, oh, yeah, it's going good, I think. I don't know. I'm doing a bit now and again when I get time. So, yeah, that's the thing about overwhelm. Overwhelm, if you stay in the very present moment and just do what you need to do in the moment, you'll be totally fine. If you project too much into the future about how big the project is and how you're going to do, a certain phase of it before you even get there, then you'll definitely get overwhelmed. So my advice is to just focus on each week doing the thing you need to do, and then you will naturally just arrive at your destination. Okay. So, any questions? I would love to hear your questions. We are going slightly over time, but we are finishing up now. All right. Cool, Angelique, you got that? That's really good to hear. Does anyone else have any questions? Either I've done a really great job in explaining all this weird stuff, or you're all totally confused and you don't want to admit it. So I'm not sure which one it is, but okay. All right. So I'm just going to step back here. I'm just waiting for any questions to come through. And if I don't hear from you in the next little bit, then I'm gonna move up. I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna talk about the replay. Actually, maybe I'll do that, and I'll come back to the questions if there are some there. So here we go. Okay, so I'll just tell you a little bit about what happens next. So there's the replay. So basically, once this is finished, you have access to the replay of this session, so you can watch it tonight or you can watch it tomorrow. I'll send out a link again tomorrow, tomorrow morning, or actually probably after this session tonight or tomorrow morning. So the bonus session, due to overwhelming popular demand, I've decided that I will do a bonus session next week, and I want to talk a little bit about that bonus session. So what that's going to be, it's going to be a slightly different format. So I'm going to do a more of an open format. So it's going to be less of me just sitting here talking at you like it's a lecture, and then, you know, sometimes getting a bit of feedback through the chat box or whatever. I'm going to send out a different type of link in the email, and it will be an actual invite to the Google Hangout. And in that Hangout, you'll be able to be a part of that Hangout. And if you've got a webcam or whatever, you'll be there, and we'll be able to chat in real time. And if you've got anything to share, then you'll be able to do that. If you got questions, you can do that. We can have a conversation. So it's a lot more back and forth. It'll be a lot more casual, just questions and conversation going back and forth. But I will send out a questionnaire this week anyway, so that I can basically get a bunch of questions from you through the week that I'll have more time to address in the session. Because when I get people's emails, when I get your email with a question in it, I am often very tempted to spend 15 minutes typing you an awesome answer to your query and helping you. But I feel like doing a live session where we chat back and forth is going to be far more helpful. And then it's not going to take up 15 hours of my week typing questions to people. So yeah, so I'll ask you to send me any questions that are covering any of these topics that you still need some help with, or whatever it is. There's also going to be a surprise gift for all of the participants that show up to the Hangout. So it's not going to be available in the replay or anything like that. It's only going to be available live. So if people come to it, I'm going to give you a special surprise gift, and you'll only be able to access it on that Hangout through the chat box. So you have to be there live to get that, and I want you to be there. I'm also, as part of that session, I will explain more about ongoing coaching if people are interested, and also about 2-day workshop that's coming up in October, which everyone will be invited to. In the meantime, if through this session a lot of questions came up for you, I wanted to basically create some time this week. So I have put some time aside this week if people want to speak with me one-on-one about something. So one-on-one coaching is available, and I'm going to create a really special offer for people. But basically, if you're interested, I want you to email me. There's actually a box below this video at the bottom where you can put your name, a subject, and a message to me about one-on-one coaching if you want a 30-minute session this week. So it'll be a live session together on Skype, just one-on-one, me and you chatting to help you through any questions. So if you want that, all you need to do is just send me a message, and then I'll give you the details through email and stuff like that. But it's basically going to be about session. So if you are interested, please just send me a message. I wanted to thank everyone. Actually, before I do that, I am going to just check the chat box that there's no questions. All right, cool. Bonus session, yay. Okay, any questions? Okay, I don't think there are any questions, which is cool. So thanks, Kylie, for saying that I've done a great job. Awesome. Thanks, Bernadette, also. Bonus session, yes. Okay, Bernadette can't make it next week. Oh, no. Oh, well, we'll be in touch via email anyway, Bernadette, I reckon. Oh, yeah, take your tablet with you. That sounds like a good idea. Ah. Oh, my sound drops out. Okay, cool. So it looks like there are no more questions. So basically, what I want to do is I want to thank you all very much for being on these sessions, for coming here week after week, for sending through questions, for giving me really great feedback, for being really helpful, for being engaged, for participating, for being up for doing something new. I'm not sure if if you've ever done this kind of thing before. Actually, I'm just going to chuck the video back on me. Yeah. I want to thank you for being a part of these sessions. It's been really great. It's been, on this end, it's been a lot of fun, but also a lot of work pulling these sessions together. And so when people show up and they're engaged and they're, conversing and chatting to me in the chat box and asking me questions and sending me questions via email, it's really very much appreciated that that this work and this information is connecting with people and helping people. I really have received some really great and very touching emails about how impactful this has been for you, and it really makes it so worthwhile knowing that this is helping people. It's really, really great. So thank you very much for being engaged, being here, being awesome. I really look forward to seeing all of you next week in the bonus session. And stay in touch via email this week when I send out questions. And I will see you very soon. So I think that's all for now. Thank you very much. Have a great week. And I will speak to you very soon. Cool. Your art matters. So go and create.